Richie.
And I'm Steve, Mr. MMA Farragher.
And welcome to the second episode of the World Championship Full Contact Lightweight Championship Tournament, Last Man Standing. In the first episode, we saw some submissions, we saw some striking, and we saw 5 competitors moving on in the tournament. In tonight's episode, you're going to see the last 3 of the qualifying fights before we get into quarterfinal action.
Cody Zemer, a guy who reminds me of Drago from Rocky, has some of the best stand-up in the tournament. On the other side, Lucas Montoya, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, looks to show everyone that anyone can be submitted.
With that being said, Steve, you're going to see more action inside the cage. It's all coming up next, right here on the second episode of Last Man Standing. All right, Lucas Montoya making his way to the cage, training at Lobato MMA, bouncing around a little bit to some of the best gyms up north. Lucas Montoya has always been a guy that I like to watch fight because he does not stop. He doesn't know the meaning of quit. He'll throw it all out on the line, as we saw with his WCFC fight against Dana Ristazabal, which is an amazing fight.
Yeah, when we had him on our radio show this week, he talked about how he would rather lose a fight by getting knocked out than not try to win a fight. He's 100%. If it's stand-up, he's going to try to knock your head off. If you're on the ground and he's on top of you, he's going to try to knock you out. And if he's on his back, he's going to try to submit you.
Well, there's a lot of guys out there that maybe, you know, we criticize him a lot about going into the cage and fighting not to lose. They're hesitant. You never have to worry about that with Lucas Montoya. He is a guy that when he fights to win. He throws caution to the wind, he throws big punches, and he tries things that sometimes put him in danger, but usually he ends up pulling away and getting the victory.
He's never been in a boring fight, and I don't think we're going to see anything different tonight. I would be shocked to see this guy, ever go to a decision.
Now, Nick Mamalis is a kid that you heard Tim announce his weight at 145 pounds, but he's been in the cage with guys 55. I think he's even fought as high as 70, and the kid is phenomenal. I like to call him Mighty Mouse because he's always just a little bit smaller than his opponents, but he's been able to knock dudes out inside the cage that are much bigger than him.
Well, and the way he got in this tournament is interesting because he actually helps kind of coach and manage other fighters. He was contacted to see if he had any fighters, and he goes, wait a minute, this sounds awesome. I'll go up and weight. I have no problem with that. He's a great fighter, a really good wrestler, has wrestled in college. One of his best victories today is when he beat Travis Marks. Controversial ending, but during the fight, he was doing a great job against Travis Marks.
Well, Nick has been a crowd favorite here. He's coming all the way in from Wyoming, but he has a fan base here. People have seen this kid fight in the state several times. Once again, he knows that he's outsized. He knows that Lucas is bigger than him, but he doesn't care. He says, man, great. That's even more of a challenge for me. That's why I'm here. All right, Steve, with the touch of the gloves, these guys are underway. Lucas Montoya versus Nick Mamalis. This should be a great fight.
And we talked a little bit about a size difference. You can really see it there on that angle. Lucas Montoya is a big guy. Nick Mamalis hoping to use his speed.
Yeah, but a big guy, Nick Mamalis, threw a head kick right there that connected to the side of Lucas, but Lucas hit him with a stiff shot right there. Is Lucas going to be able, his game plan to close the distance on this thing and really impose his size on him?
Well, there you go.
There's the answer to that question.
Takedown against a college wrestler. I'm impressed.
Yeah, now what he's got to do right here is just keep the pressure on Nick Mamalis, because Nick, if you give this kid any ounce of breathing room, he's going to escape and he's going to work. He's going to work his strengths, and that is once again striking, working that wrestling, and he normally beats his opponents by just out hustling them.
Yeah, Nick. I mean, just Energizer Bunny. This guy goes and goes and goes. Ooh, barely misses with that right.
Nice right there. Lucas still looks like he's still kind of feeling him out. He's trying to find his range. But you see Nick, man, he's not afraid to throw it out there, man. Nice leg kick right there.
Well, and Nick switching up stances. That can confuse Lucas, when someone's coming out southpaw and then north.
Oh, nice lateral drop by Lucas Montoya to get Nick Mamalis on his back. Now, what he should do here, he's got the cage, he's got the fence right there. Work Nick over to the fence, then, and that just like that, crawl him over. Oh, and then he steps into full mount position here. This is bad news for Nick Mamalis.
Very smooth. Nick Mamalis is no joke on the ground, but wrestlers don't spend a ton of time on their backs. Great moves. You see Lucas trying to loosen him up, maybe set him up for a rear naked choke.
Well, that's one of the things that you always talk about wrestling is because they don't like to spend so much time on their back. Once they hit their back, a lot of guys automatically roll over to their stomach. And Nick, being a collegiate level wrestler, he's really been training jiu-jitsu long enough to know that. But when it comes down to reflexes, you're going to roll over. And right now, Lucas throws in his hooks, and he's really working the side of Nick Mamalis's head, looking to soften him up to get that possible submission.
Oh, and you see Nick really battling from underneath. A lot of times you see fighters kind of give up when they get in this position. Not Nick. He is doing everything he can. Is he going to stand up?
It looks like he's going to stand up, but he is taking some shots, and that is very impressive for Nick Mamalis. Oh, with the back slam right there, almost rolled out of it.
I love it. You know what? You're on my back. I've got nothing else I can do. I'm going to stand up and try to smash you.
Oh, but it looked right there. It looked like Lucas was looking to work that body triangle, which if you've never been in one, it is absolutely miserable, and he has it. And right here, he is sinking in the choke with a body triangle. Good night, Nick Mamalis. I think this fight is over. Oh, and just as I say that, Nick fights to get that choke free. Wow.
Well, and the only thing worse than having a guy trying to get a rear naked choke against you is when you're bleeding out of your nose while someone's trying to choke you. It makes it that much harder to breathe. Tough position for Mamalis to be in.
Well, he's really working hard, and it's hard when you've got one of the biggest guys in the tournament on your back, and you are arguably one of the smallest guys in the tournament, but Nick Mamalis wanted it, and there's the choke, and there's your winner.
Wow.
Lucas Montoya, what a stallion.
Lucas looked great, completely controlled Nick Mamalis. I knew that Lucas's ground game was good, but I didn't expect him to see him get those takedowns.
I'm not gonna lie, when Nick Mamalis agreed to enter this tournament, he was one of the guys, in my opinion, that I thought this kid could go far. He could very well end up in the finals just because of his work ethic and what kind of skill set this kid has. I'm telling you, very tough opponent. Nick, don't hang your head, brother. Lucas is moving on in the tournament. He's going to be working his way into the quarterfinals. Who will he face? Well, you're just going to have to wait and see. Hey, Steve, right now let's send it inside the cage to Tim Hughes. Let's make this thing official.
All right, everybody. I think it's worth mentioning that Nick Mamalis came in as the lightest guy in this tournament at 145 pounds. He said, I don't care. I'm going to take anybody and everybody on. He's here tonight. Give him a round of applause for stepping in. This one ends by submission, and it was a tap out by way of a rear naked choke. We have an official time of 3 minutes, 19 seconds. Your winner, and moving on, Lucas Montoya.
Well, Steve, I tell you what, let's do this. Let's go to break. But when we come back, we got 2 more fights in this first round, and then it's on to the quarterfinal. All right, man. Well, Michael Parker is a kid coming from Tucson, Arizona. We put the call out there. We said, look, who are some of the toughest kids? I talked to my boy Sky Andren from Fight Legion, and Sky said, I've got a kid that I'm really going to hang my hat on. This kid, he's got dynamite in his hands. His wrestling is top notch. You're not going to be able to take this kid down. And if you stick your chin out, he is going to knock you out. And I'm going to send him down to you. And so Michael Parker showed up and said, I'm here for the tournament. Sign me up. Let's get things rocking and rolling. So I'm expecting some pretty big things out of him. In his corner right there is Eddie Arizmendi. Of course, Eddie Arizmendi fighting in Strikeforce right now. He's got a big fight coming up in the Strikeforce Challengers event. And that's his corner. So you got to love a guy that brings a little bit of talent with him as well.
Well, and Cody Zemer, you know, speaking of guys, we're still not sure if he is human. this guy might just be a machine. He reminds me so much of the guy in Rocky IV that Rocky fights. I think it's Drago.
All right, well, here comes Cody Zemer making his way into the cage. Steve, you've had nothing but good things to say about this kid, and I think at the beginning, you told me you think this kid could very well win this whole tournament.
You know, I saw him fight Dan Gardner, and he comes out so focused, never changes his expressions, but his stand-up is just amazing. He is so technical, you know, great kicks, great strikes, seems like he never gets hit. Absolutely, I think this guy, and great takedown defense.
Well, he's absolutely chiseled, and you see Tom Supnett in his corner. Tom, of course, rocking the red shirt that he had on right there, and Tom is a great ambassador for the sport of mixed martial arts. He's been around a long time, been in the game, and produced some of the toughest fighters I've ever seen inside of a cage. So, yeah, this could very well be the fight of the night, man, depending on how this thing goes.
And his entrance music, Unsolved Mysteries. I'm telling you, this guy just intrigues me. I'm really interested to see how he does in the tournament. He's undefeated, and, you know, again, striking is his game.
Well, let's see. Spine, no eye gouging, face hooking, hair pulling, keep your finger out of any orifice and keep your fingers out of the fence. That's a big one for Dave. Dave does not like it when the guys hold on to the fence to gain advantage, and he'll be the first one to rip you a new one if you do. And here we go, a touch of the gloves, and these guys are ready to rock and roll.
Looks like Zemer has a little bit of a reach advantage in this. Ooh, a good straight kick by Michael Parker.
A nice little Superman punch right there to close the distance to what could be possibly looking for a takedown. But I can tell you this, if Dan Gardner wasn't able to take Cody Zemer down, I'm not sure if Michael Parker will. Not knowing what kind of wrestling pedigree Michael Parker comes from, I just know that Dan Gardner couldn't get this kid to the mat, and he's a tough kid.
And look at the stance Cody Zemer is using. You can see that he's really, you know, prepared at any time to throw that rear leg. I'll be interested to see if he'll throw some good kicks in this first fight.
Ooh, a nice stiff left right there, and followed up by a right hook by Cody Zemer. Michael Parker, you know, he's kind of looking a little fidgety, but sometimes those guys like that, man, they throw you off your game. You're not sure what's going to happen. Is he going to throw a punch? Is he going to look for that takedown? What's going to happen? But you talk about methodical. Cody Zemer just marching. Those are scoring points, man. If anything else, he's taking control of this cage.
And almost every exchange he's landing. Again, another fighter that's switching up stances. He's going, you know, from orthodox to southpaw. Makes it very confusing to know where those strikes are going to come from.
That was a nice little combination right there by Michael Parker. Looking to switch it up a little bit. It looked like he was going to grab the back of Zemer, maybe throw an uppercut. But Cody Zemer, nice posture, kind of pushed him off, and now back to the center of the cage. Oh, man, that thing came from left field. Cody Zemer looking to knock Parker's head off with that one.
Yeah, if he'd have set that one up, it could have been an end of the night.
Nice kick again. You talked about the kicks. Oh, and a head kick. That looks like it connected just a little bit. It would have been a little nicer. Oh, but then a right cross by Michael Parker almost took the head off Cody Zemer.
Michael Parker's game, and I like that. Even though, you know, at this time Zemer's getting a little better of the stand-up, at least Parker is attacking back, trying to make him pay, you know, for when there are exchanges.
Well, going in for that takedown and, you know, shooting from a mile away. And when you do that, nice sprawl by Cody Zemer, he's going to make you pay. He's going to punish you down here for missing that, and it looks like he's looking for a choke here, but he lets go. Oh, and a big head kick right there.
Great way to get out of the clinch. Clinched up and then throws the head kick. I like it.
Well, Michael Parker threw that left coming out of that clinch, and it looks like it caught a little bit. But yeah, I think Cody Zemer, to really make those leg kicks effective, set him up. You know, throw a couple punch combination, then follow through with a leg kick or a high head kick, and don't just make that, you know, the one and done shot of the night.
No, you're absolutely right on that. It is so important to set up those takedown attempts. And Zemer using that jab.
Hey, there you go. Well, he threw that kick and he was lazy in bringing it back. And in that, Michael Parker makes a pay, but now Michael Parker on the back of Cody Zemer looking for a rear naked choke.
This is absolutely where Michael Parker wants to be in this fight. The best position yet. Can he take advantage of it?
Well, he's up. He's really high on Zemer, and Zemer realizes that. And so what he's been able to do is just kind of climb that tree, pull him off the top, and now he's in a standing position, standing over Michael Parker. Oh, and he drops down and lands a pretty nice shot to the side of Michael's face.
that's got to be frustrating for Michael Parker. You know, sometimes in the fight, if you're not, you know, doing the best, and then you get in a really dominant position and you're not able to take advantage of it, it can demoralize you. Let's hope that he bounces back.
Well, we got 1:20 on the clock. It looks like he's working some kind of a choke right here. I thought it was a guillotine at first, but no, you're not active enough. Dave's going to stand you up. Get after it, boys. Once again, want to think, oh, nice. Michael Parker with a little Superman punch again. That's the second one he's thrown tonight and the second one that he's landed.
Yeah, that was very explosive, very quick.
Man, a nice leg kick by Cody Zemer. Michael Parker has to check those kicks. One or two more of those, man, those things start to take a toll. And you might not feel it tonight, but I promise you, brother, you're going to feel it tomorrow morning.
Well, and you see the explosiveness and the bounce in Michael Parker's step. He takes a couple of those, he's not going to be able to do that. I would like to see Zemer be a little more aggressive. He does seem to be a lot of a counter striker. I'd like to see him, you know, be going out a little bit more, you know, and being a little more dominant in that fashion.
Well, he stuffed almost every single takedown that Michael Parker has thrown at him. If it wasn't for that caught kick earlier on, I'm not sure if Michael would have had a takedown. Right now, he's really working hard for that takedown, and Cody doing a great job of stopping it.
Yep, 10 seconds left in the fight. You know, yeah, I'd like to see these guys finish it with a bang, and there goes Michael Parker.
And just as you say that, Parker throws a nice overhand right that lands right on the chin of Cody Zemer. But look, this was a great fight nonetheless. We saw a little bit of everything. Man, Cody Zemer, the kid, marched forward the entire fight, and I think he may have done just enough to pull off this victory here in the first round of this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Michael Parker, I thought, did a great job in the fight. You know, didn't do enough to win, in my opinion, as well.
Just like that, 1 5-minute round, it goes to the judges' scorecard. I know neither of these guys wanted it to go that way, but we get back a split decision. Let's see how the judges see it. Judge Dutcher, 10-9 Parker. Judge Calderwood, 10-9 Zemer. Judge First, 10-9 for your winner. Moving on to the next round, Cody Zemer.
WCFC, I am Johnny Ritchie, sitting cage side with my good friend Steve, Mr. MMA Farragher. Man, Steve, what an awesome night of fights this has been. The WCFC Lightweight Tournament. These guys are in here mixing it up big, and can you believe it? We only have one more fight left here in the first round before we move on to the quarterfinals, and it's between Derek Wilkerson and Aaron Iriarte.
These are two young guys that are both really hungry, both want to make their mark in the tournament. Both of them want to get a belt and want to get a lot of money.
All right, well, making his way to the cage, Derek Wilkerson, this kid training down south. He's got a camp of guys that say, look, this kid is like no one you're going to see in this tournament. He is just a knucklehead. And what they mean by that is you punch him hard, he's going to absorb it, he's going to love it, and he's going to try to punch you right back. He's a kid that's, he's got kind of an attitude. As you'll see, you know, he's not afraid to talk a little smack and, you know, get in there and fight as hard as he talks smack.
Yeah, I really exciting guy, really fun. You see Mr. Iriarte here. One thing that's really neat about this kid is that I was talking to him is the day of the weigh-ins, he worked until 7 o'clock in the morning. He worked the graveyard shift, and then he drove for, I don't know, 9 hours to make it in time for the weigh-ins. No excuses from him. He's young, and he says, I want to get paid, I want to win, I want to do big things in MMA.
Hey, man, I don't care what your rhyme and reason is. As long as you step inside the cage and mix it up, I don't care. I just want to see fights. And Aaron made the trek. He's here, and guess what? He's going to be in a fight in about 30 seconds. They're going to get and mix it up. So I could be more glad that he's here in the cage ready to fight.
Yeah, and another neat thing about Derek, Derek coming, you know, from the Vernal area. These guys are always known as being strong and good wrestlers. Can't wait to see this fight.
Well, Dave Sawyer said he's going to give one last run through to make sure that they're all inspected by the athletic commission. They got their cup, their mouthpiece, and their gloves are taped up. Here we go. Winner take all. This is the last fight before the quarterfinals. Championship tournament, Steve.
Ooh, I like it. I love a good stare down.
Dave's making sure everyone's locked and ready to go. You ready? Boom, get in here and mix it up. Touch the gloves, and these guys are ready to mix it up. Oh, and
it almost looked like they both kicked each other in the cup.
Yeah, kick for kick right there. And sometimes, man, these young pups, Aaron Iriarte is a young cat. You know, he's just getting into the sport. And he's going to do some things that are just kind of off the wall. You know, they're going to come out and they're going to fight real super hard. I would like to say conserve your energy, but no, you only have 5 minutes. Give it your all right now from start to finish.
Well, and that was a great escape by Aaron. You know, Derek had him down and he got out of it quick.
Well, look at the face of Iriarte. Every time he loads up the punch, you see it on his face. He kind of gives you this face like, I'm going to smash you.
Well, and Aaron's not using a lot of head movement right now, but he does clench that face, you know, and kind of says, hey, I'm just going to take it.
You see right there, Derek Wilkerson throwing some kind of a step kick right there, almost a little ninja kick. I don't know if I've ever seen a wrestler do that before.
Aaron throwing a lot of jabs, but I'm not quite sure what he's going for on those, because it doesn't look like he's trying to land, and even if they did, it doesn't look like he's got anything behind it, but a good right there, or a good left.
Yeah, he threw a right to kind of set up that left, and that left came back from the fourth row, but Derek doing a pretty good job of stopping it. Now Derek doing what he likes to do, that's closing the distance, get his opponent up against the cage, and right here, Aaron Iriarte is in a pretty bad spot.
Yeah.
Oh, but he pops his head out here. I wouldn't have expected that. I thought Derek was going to get that guillotine choke in. Nice shot.
Yeah, maybe Derek's wanting to showcase some stand-up. That was really surprising.
Which is fine by me. I want to see that too, man. And I think the fans at home and as well here at the Rail Event Center, they want to see some stand-up action. And just as I say that, Derek Wilkerson shoots in, gets a takedown from halfway across the cage, and winds up here in sort of a butterfly guard on Iriarte. Iriarte rolling to his stomach. Now Wilkerson.
Position before submission. Derek Wilkerson had a chance to get his hooks in, but got maybe a little overzealous looking for a choke, and Aaron was able to get out of it.
Well, that's what happens, man. You said it right there. Oh, and a nice big shot by Aaron Iriarte. And just like that, football tackle to his back by our Derek Wilkerson. Now Derek working to that side control, drop some elbows here, soften up his opponent, maybe work himself into a full mount. But no, Iriarte rolls to his stomach, maybe possibly looking for a single leg here, maybe shrimp out of this position.
Yeah, Derek Wilkerson with his wrestling, that is a great advantage, where if he gets tagged standing, he can decide to take the fight to the ground, you know, but he hasn't been able to, a knee to the bum.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before. Kind of gave him one of those giddy-ups right in the old butt.
You're not going to be able to ride a horse for a week after this.
That's right. Give him a little butt jab right there. That's great.
Good inside leg kick.
Yeah, good inside leg kick. Almost swept the feet. Now, here's what Aaron needs to do. But he's a young fighter. He needs to follow that up with some punches. You throw that kick, you know, you took almost took the leg out from underneath him. Follow it up with some punches. Keep him guessing. Oh, and a nice spinning back fist right there by Derek Wilkerson. And these guys are scrambling. Hey man, both these guys have heart. I love this fight.
Absolutely, a very topsy-turvy fight, you know, where one guy's on top, you know, and 2 seconds later it's reversed.
You know, sometimes when you're in the cage mixing it up with someone, sometimes you end up fighting their style, you know, and in this fight you can see these guys are just kind of throwing haymakers. They're going really wild. There's no real straight punches down the pipe. They're just getting after it. They're looking to knock each other out. I love it.
Now, Aaron definitely needs to start on, you know,
what's going
Derek
on
was
right
talking to the ref.
What was he saying to him?
I'm not really sure. But Aaron needs to start improving his position. There you go, seeing him turn in.
Well, I'm not sure if he knows maybe what an armbar is. He's going to try it, though. Foot up on his hip. Nope, Dave's going to stand him up. Not enough action for Dave.
No.
You got to be.
Yeah, you'll never see that kind of action in a heavyweight fight.
Not like that, man. There's a lot of scrambling, a lot of back and forth. Oh, power drive to his back.
Great
He stuck his head in
takedown.
his chest like a linebacker and drove him back about 4 feet, stuck him into the side of the cage, and now Derek Wilkerson is in a great position here, working to what could be a full mount. He's got it, and Aaron Iriarte is in a little bit of trouble here. Boom, eating those big elbows, wow.
Yeah, this is a terrible position for Aaron to be in. You know, good elbows, good ground and pound by Derek. You know, like to see him, you know, maybe get just a little bit more behind him, take just a little bit more time so he can really make those shots count.
Well, right there, what you saw Derek Wilkerson doing was posting up on the face of Iriarte, then dropping that elbow down. And we've seen a lot of fights end that way where a guy gets laced open, they get cut. But this fight is going to go to the distance. It's the full 5 minutes here. It is your last fight of the first round. Steve, what a great fight. What a good way to close out this first round here at the WCFC.
Well, and either way, regardless of who wins this fight, both of those guys can know that they left it all in the cage. The mutual respect that you get, you know, after spending 5 minutes of trying to punch someone's face in that those guys have for each other now, it's just a neat thing to see.
Well, it was a great fight, action-packed. It's in the hands of the judges now. So let's do this. Let's send it over to Tim Hughes and get the official announcement.
Judges give us back a unanimous decision. First, Calderwood, Dutcher, all score the bout for your winner, Derek Wilkerson.
Well, there he is. There is your winner. Derek Wilkerson is moving on to the quarterfinals. Welcome back to The Last Man Standing. Steve, the qualifiers are over. It's now time to move on to quarterfinal action.
The men have been separated from the boys, and who's going to win in the quarterfinals is anybody's guess.
Well, I'll tell you what, Steve, I have my pick. I know you have yours too, and if you're sitting at home, you better hang your hat on the guy you like the best, because we've got quarterfinal action coming up next between Talon Hoffman and John Neal.
Well, and that's what I like so much about this tournament is so many times you see guys fight on the same card. You go, wow, this guy won his fight and this guy won this fight. What would happen if they fought each other? We got to find out every answer tonight.
Yep, and right there you see Talon Hoffman making his way inside of the cage. He had a great first round performance, moving on to the quarterfinals, facing a tough kid in John Neal, who edged out Sean Powers, and this should be a great fight. Both of these guys very similar. They've got the ground and pound. They're great wrestlers. Is this fight going to be dictated on the mat, or is this going to be a stand-up war, Steve Farragher?
Well, it's interesting. So many times when you pit two wrestlers against each other, you see them just strike it for 5 minutes. I don't know on that. I probably give John Neal, you know, a little bit of advantage on athleticism, but Talon Hoffman, you know, if this guy gets on top of you, he's going to maintain position.
Yeah, Talon has impressed me thus far. All right, Steve, we see Dave Silly said giving these guys the one last check over. He's going to bring them in the center of the cage to make sure they understand the rules here in this quarterfinal to the last man standing. I can't wait to see what happens. What's going to happen? Steve, who do you got? Who do you got? I want to know your pick. Personally, who do you think is going to win this thing?
You know, they look so identical, but I'm going to give it to Talon just because I think he might, you know, have a little more experience.
I think you're wrong, man. I think John Neal is going to he's going to pull a rabbit out of his hat. What I mean by that is he's going to throw some leather right here, and I think he's going to catch Talon and possibly knock him out.
Well, and there you go. You see these guys fighting. You know, John Neal going for the takedown, Talon defending well so far.
Well, John Neal's got him up against the fence there, looking for a little bit of a judo throw. He's got to do just a little bit more than that Talon does in order to get that throw. But John Neal, very explosive right there, and Talon just seemed to have caught that, reversed it. Now we have John Neal against the fence, and Neil looking. Oh man, this is some great wrestling, right? This is like some Greco-Roman style.
Absolutely. You see two good knees from John Neal. John going for that headlock shoulder throw. No.
Well, he slipped off that headlock shoulder throw, and now Talon Hoffman has his back. Not a position you want to be in if you're John Neal. Now remember, Talon was the first fight of the night. He's had a little bit longer to recoup, and you give this kid your back, he's going to take advantage of it and make you pay for it.
And you saw his submission defense against Dos Santos, which lets you know that if he can defend submissions well, he probably knows how to put some on. He's looking to get his hooks in right now. So far, John's been able to keep him from doing it, though.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Dos Santos while we have a little time here as he's sneaking down his choke. You know, Dos Santos actually fighting now in the quarterfinals. Quintana and Ty Hamlin both injured. Quintana, we know, won. He broke his hand. He is unable to continue. Ty Hamlin was hurt in his fight with that cut. He is unable to continue. So Dos Santos is now moving on to the quarterfinals, and we're going to see him fight lucky. That's just a lucky chance it happened.
You know what? That's great, though, because, you know, Talon and Dos Santos fight was so close that it was tough to say, you know, split decision. Great to see them, you know, both going to get to continue.
But in the meantime, Hoffman is on the back of John Neal, working for the choke. It looks like he's got it.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's the fight. And that is the fight. If you're, hey, here's the deal. You're going to move on in the tournament in your fights early. Get these wins out of the way so that you're fresh for the next round. Wow, Talon Hoffman, what an animal.
Well, and you talked about it too. He was the first fight of the night, and then to beat John Neal quickly, that gives him a huge advantage. If other fighters are fighting for a long time, his cardio could be there.
Well, I tell you what, congratulations to Talon Hoffman. John Neal, don't hang your head, bro. We are proud of you. Look, Steve, I'm going to send it up to Tim Hughes. Let's make this thing official.
All right, one more time around the bench center. Give both of these guys a big round of applause for making it this far in the tournament. Someone has to move on, someone has to go, and it is a rear naked choke that ends the night of one of our fighters. 2 minutes and 2 seconds into this round, your winner, Talon Hoffman.
All right, welcome back to the WCFC. I am Johnny Ritchie, sitting cage up with my good friend Steve, Mr. MMA Farragher. Great night of fights. It is the second fight right now in the quarterfinals. We talked about Dos Santos coming back, and he's on his way into the cage here momentarily because of the injury to Jack Quintana's hand and because of the cut on Ty Hamlin's face. They were unable to continue. So what do? We bring in the fighter that so far has done the best but fought Quintana. And in that, we're bringing Dos Santos back inside of the cage. And let's listen to Tim Hughes for his announcement.
2 more fighters ready to go. Another spot waiting, of course, in our tournament. And we'll get our next fighter out here. He's trained in Muay Thai and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He brought with him a perfect record tonight of 5-0. Now, he lost in that first round, but he's been given new life. And he is back for our next round. He's here from Sao Paulo, Brazil. 6 feet 1 inches tall and 160 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, Andre Franco Dos Santos.
All right, well, here comes our boy Andre Franco Dos Santos coming all the way from Brazil. I tell you what, he got lucky. He must have had a rabbit's foot in his pocket because he gets to advance in the tournament, fight here in the quarterfinals, and he couldn't be more excited, and I think his cornermen are just as excited as he is.
Well, and we haven't talked a lot about it, but one of the other cool things about this tournament is it's kind of a put up or shut up tournament. If you don't win in the first round, you don't get any money. You're not getting paid. You've got to win fights to get paid. And so Dos Santos didn't get any money in that first round. He's getting a chance, you know, to get paid.
Well, let's hear who his opponent is right now.
All right, taking us Dos Santos in our next round. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter at 5 feet 11 inches. He weighed in at fight time at an even 160 pounds. He's here tonight from Ogden, Utah. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes Lucas Montoya.
All right, Lucas Montoya, a guy that we picked in the beginning that said, watch this kid. He is one of the best fighters that we've seen here in the state of Utah, if not the Western United States, and he is here to prove his stuff. He had a great win in the first portion of tonight's tournament. Now, moving on into the quarterfinals, this kid is the real deal.
Yeah, and in Lucas's fight, he used his wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I expect to see more of the same. From looking at these guys as both of their first fights, definitely give an advantage in wrestling to Lucas and in striking. Jiu-jitsu, I don't know yet. We're going to have to wait and see.
Well, Dave Shelley said he's going to walk over, check them out, make sure that they're all ready to go here in your quarterfinals, the WCFC Last Man Standing Championship Tournament. You root for a guy. You pick a guy, you root for him. Now maybe your guy doesn't win, well, you get another guy to root for. But by the end, you're going to see someone that you've at least cheered for once in the night fight in the finals. So this is going to be a good matchup right here. This is going to be a good matchup, I think, of tacticians. Who's going to be able to impose their will and do what they want to do in this fight to win.
And you see, you know, Dos Santos, you know, throw some good strikes. Lucas as well. Great jab by Lucas. Good takedown.
Man, Lucas Montoya closing the distance, pushing Dos Santos up against the back of the cage and then using it to get his takedown. But look how slick Dos Santos is working into that single leg and using that transition to get back up on his feet. But I really think Dos Santos likes getting taken down. I think because of his, submission background, he's looking to get taken down so that he can, work that jiu-jitsu. But not like that, because now look what happens. Lucas Montoya works into a full mount position, and he is going to make Dos Santos pay for that.
Yeah, wow. Very similar to his first fight with Mamales, on getting the takedown immediately moving into mount. Here you see him going for a guillotine. Now, I don't think he's going to give up position by rolling back into that, but maybe he's doing that to, better his position.
Well, Lucas Montoya is a very smart fighter, and he's got to know how dangerous Dos Santos is. Ooh, but a nice elbow right there by Dos Santos. You stick your head on that kid's chest and you're not doing much, he's going to make you pay for it. And he smashes Montoya with an elbow right there. You still see Montoya looking for a possible guillotine choke. When it's striking right here is what he should be doing. Don't get in a position where Dos Santos can use that jiu-jitsu against you. Scramble.
Yeah, again, two very high-level jiu-jitsu fighters working for position. So far, Lucas getting a little bit of the better, but it's neat to see these guys going at it using their jiu-jitsu.
Well, sometimes, too, in the judges' eyes, the guy that's on top is the guy that's winning, Even though right there Dos Santos is really working for that single leg, Lucas is hammering him on the sides with elbows like that. And they might not be doing much, but in the eyes of the judges, they're scoring points. He's on top, he's striking, he's staying active, and some judges, that's exactly what they want to see. But what I like to see is don't leave it in the hands of the judges. Finish this fight right here in the 5 minutes that you've got.
And there we see Lucas kind of going in that, I'm going to get in the pocket and I'm going to throw, you throw, let's see what happens.
Wow, and then another great takedown right there by Lucas Montoya. Lands in the half guard of Dos Santos. Pretty much having his way with him at this point as far as the takedowns are concerned. Every time he's needed to get Dos Santos down, he was able to do so. And once again, it's what you do with those takedowns. Right now, he's on top. He's looking for a submission. That's got to score you a point as far as I'm concerned.
Nope, I agree with you 100% on that. Yeah, again, Dos Santos working out of position, getting in good positioning, but Lucas keeps staying on top.
Now, of course, the top brass of the WCFC, guys like Joe Wooten and Shane Traveler, they love to see the stand-up war. They love to see these guys, like you said, sit in the pocket and trade shots. This is fun to watch, man. This is a freaking chess match going on right here. Those guys are going to win.
Oh, does he have the ankle?
Oh, big shots right there. It looks like he does have the ankle, but he is getting lit up as he's trying to work for that submission. Oh, and a big.
Oh!
There it is. Lucas Montoya doing what he does.
You know, that ankle submission, it is such a tempting one to go for it, but the problem with it is you have to use both hands to secure it, and you leave your face wide open. In MMA, very dangerous. Lucas defended it perfectly.
Wow, Lucas Montoya, nice job right there, man, landing some solid strikes. Dos Santos, how tough is this? You come to America. First time you've ever fought in the States, and you end up losing twice in one night. Well, hey, buddy, here's the deal. Don't hang your head. Come on back. You're a tough, tough kid. We'd love to have you back in the WCFC. But right there is your winner, Lucas Montoya. Wow, what a stud. Awesome performance there. These guys trading big. You talked about sitting in the pocket and landing big strikes. Well, that's what Lucas did. A lot of submissions. And right there at the very, very end, Steve hammering down.
Yeah. Just a great fight. These guys battling on the ground, but Lucas getting the better of the wrestling, securing top position, looking for submissions, you know, looking to work some ground and pound. And then finally there at the end, Dos Santos really goes for broke, trying to secure that ankle, takes the knockout.
Right here, man, what an awesome event the WCFC has put on. The crowd here, sold out crowd here at the Rail Event Center. And the people here are absolutely loving this style. It gives you the chance to root for a guy. You pick a guy, you root for him. Now maybe your guy doesn't win, well, you get another guy to root for. But by the end, you're going to see someone that you've at least cheered for once in the night fight in the finals.
This one, and you saw it on the replay, ruled a knockout as referee Dave Salyerstedt stepped in. The official time, 3 minutes, 13 seconds. And your winner, Lucas Montoya.
Oh, told you, buddy. Now those were some quarterfinal action right there. With only one fight left, what's going to happen between Steve Sharp and Derek Wilkerson?
This tournament still has a lot of great names in it. Next time, you're going to get to see, is it Steve Sharp? Is it James Birdsley? What about Cody Zemer? Maybe a little bit of Lucas Montoya.
Well, either way, it's going to be action-packed. And if you want to find out more information about the WCFC and our tournament standings, it's simple. Just head on over to WCFC.com. For Steve, Mr. MMA Farragher, I'm Johnny Ritchie. We'll see you next time.